When you're collecting video games, typically you start collecting what you grew up with. The games that you played as a kid, then the games you heard of as a kid but never got a chance to play because it's not like your parents would buy you every single game that came out every year. After that, you eventually start refining your taste and collecting games that you know you'll enjoy playing. Some are super rare and some are super common. And a lot of channels have showcased their collections. They usually show off the most expensive games or the games that they picked up at flea markets, but what about the quirky things? I like collecting quirky things, and it's not just quirky video games either. I have a Laserdisc collection, I have an HD DVD collection, I've got a bottle of Pepsi Perfect when they sold them in October of 2015 for Back to the Future 2 Day. You know, quirky things. And with video games, there are a lot of quirky things to collect, and I have some that I'll share at the end of this video, but first I put out an open call on my Twitter for creators to share their quirky game collections, and I got some good creators on board. So let's see what they have to share.
So what are some of the quirkiest things in my collection? That's a great question, man. I've got a lot of really quirky stuff in my collection. I'm kind of an unusual collector. One of my favorite pieces would have to be my Captain Power ship and VHS game. Absolutely love that. I'm really into collecting obscure comic books, VHS tapes, a bunch of other things. But I think for me, the biggest quirky fan base has got to be my love of the Disney Duck family. Uncle Scrooge, Donald Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It all started for me back in the day on the NES with DuckTales, and then DuckTales Remastered, which I had here on the PS3. Absolutely love anything Donald Duck or Uncle Scrooge related. You can see my giant pop figure here that was a Target exclusive in the States. I had to import that. I've got some comic books going back to the 40s and 50s. Donald Duck, the very first DuckTales comic book from the late 80s. I absolutely love this stuff. You can see I've got figures, I've got books, I've even got over here the VHS movie, DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp. I'm such a fan of Disney, the Ducks, even Mickey Mouse and stuff too. I was considering doing something similar to this with some of my Mickey Mouse games and books and comics and things like that, but at the end of the day, I'm just an absolute crazy fanatic for Uncle Scrooge, Donald Duck, and the boys. So what do you think? Is that the weirdest thing in this video? I can't wait to see the video and see for myself. Thanks, Nick.
PK in the Universe here. Thank you so much, Super Nicktendo, for letting me participate in this collaboration. I'm going to talk about some quirky items in my collection in under 2 minutes. So here we go. First up, we got the Wisdom Tree NES collection, but on Game Boy Advance. I had backed this on Kickstarter. Pico Interactive owns the Wisdom Tree license, and they had done a Kickstarter to make a GBA version of the NES collection. There's only maybe 40 of these in existence. Originally I got it for my wife, actually, who had Joshua in the Battle of Jericho as a kid. She played it for like 20 minutes, but anyways. Another quirky item in my collection is a little DVD Blu-ray combo called House Sitters. This is a stoner horror comedy. I actually know the assistant director, Jeff Burnham, and I had backed this on Kickstarter. There were only ever 100 produced, and this is number 82 of 100. Up next we got the Wii Mini. There is no reason to own a Wii Mini other than this thing looks cool and it's top loading and it can play Wii games in glorious 240p. Up next we have Batman Begins on VHS. That's right, I have the VHS of Batman Begins. This was originally a library rental, which is why it's in a clamshell. There's no rhyme or reason to own this. I have it on Blu-ray, I have the Steelbook, but I love Batman Begins and I love VHS, so I had to get this. And finally, the last quirky item in my collection, a red rotary phone. Why do I have a red rotary phone? I can't obviously use it. I just think it looks cool, honestly, and it reminds me of the old Batman Adam West TV show. I always wanted a red rotary phone ever since I saw that as a kid. You know, it's cool to have Batman's phone. So anyways, those are my quirky items. Thanks for having me on, Nick.
So a guy like me who collects and talks about displaying games all the time definitely has a couple weird quirky items, and the first quirky item has to be this Legend of Zelda 3D standee. This bad boy is super tall and big. It really only has a couple spaces to display things in it, but I still love it because it's the Legend of Zelda, one of my favorite franchises of all time. Picked this bad boy up at a garage sale for free. I was purchasing an old army desk that I saw there and saw this in the back of his garage, and he said he just wanted to get rid of it, and here I am with this awesome standee. And like I said, finding weird display ideas for game collections is what I do, so finding these cool displays for Wii controllers is awesome. I had to couple all these into one group because they all kind of fit this same vibe of displaying and charging Wii controllers, and they're all these different odds and ends. You've got an epic Mickey one, you've got a Rabbids one, you have Sonic the Hedgehog charger that's magnetic, as well as this awesome wrestling stand, which I think is super cool and kind of creepy if you actually remove the controllers from it. So that's my couple of weird oddities from my collection.
Hey Nick, here are some of my quirkiest gaming related items. First up, I have some Animal Crossing toys. Big fan of Animal Crossing series. These came in like chocolate type eggs, like Kinder eggs. This one is, it's Tom Nook. Right there is. Next item is a 2DS cup. So it has different 2DS, well 3DS games on it, but it has 2DS on it. It has Luigi from Luigi's Mansion, Isabelle from Animal Crossing New Leaf, Link from Ocarina of Time 3D, and a me from Tomodachi Life. Is a wind-up toy from McDonald's kids meal many years ago. I have a few of ones like this, but see, it's gaming related because it's right here. Sega. It's also Tiger Electronics, but mainly Sega. So that's how it's gaming related. Yeah, here are some of my quirkiest gaming items.
When it comes to gaming and video game collecting, I'm no stranger to the weird side of it all. So naturally, over the years, I collected a number of collector's editions for strange games that some people might find embarrassing. In those collector's editions may become even more embarrassing pack-ins. Pack-ins like the screen cleaner for Galgun Double Piece. It's, well, yeah, see, actually, you know what? I think I might skip show and tell today. Can we just move on to the next person?
All right, Super Nicktendo, thanks a ton for having us. You asked us about some quirky things in our collection, which happen to be in our game room. And I'm going to let you talk about this because, like, you're so passionate about this, like, series of games that it's just kind of strange.
It's very strange. So I love Dr. Mario. It's probably my favorite game of all time. So first, I have the complete in box Dr. Mario NES box, which is beautiful, so clean.
Nintendo seal.
Oh, dude, I love the sticker there.
Yeah.
I have the Dr. Mario Tetris Super Nintendo complete in box as well, which is awesome, even though it's a lot better on the NES. And then I have the Dr. Mario Amiibo, which this guy is so cool. He's not the greatest in Smash Bros, but it's still a cool figure. And then our buddy Sean from the Nerd Layer gifted me Dr. Mario on the Game Boy from Japan.
Nice.
And this is complete in box. It's in mint condition, and I love that it's just everything in Japanese. I just love everything related to Dr. Mario. It's just beautiful.
It's a pretty sick collection, I must say. So for me, there's not a ton of value here other than what it is worth to me. I've always been a fan of arcade sports games from the time I can remember. And I don't even know if you want to consider Blades of Steel that way, but I played that on the NES, was way into the first time I ever played NBA Jam, NBA Hangtime, NBA Showtime, NFL Blitz, so on and so forth. I've always loved that genre of games because I felt like they were sports games for not only sports fans, but also non-sports fans.
For everyone.
That everyone could enjoy. And I had the pleasure of meeting Tim Kitzrow at Portland Retro Gaming Expo and Midwest Gaming Classic. And I have a signed photo, and I put it in this frame, and the signed box with the manual inside for NBA Jam Tournament Edition on the Super Nintendo. I got him to autograph NHL Hits 2003 as well for a game challenge we were doing, and I love that game, but I kind of like 2002 better. So this right here, like, is that thing in the game room that every time I see it, I'm like, I cannot believe I have this. I mean, I don't know if I could sell this thing for $50, but I don't care because there's no dollar amount
and
on this.
Meeting him, was so cool.
It
the
was.
experience was like so cool, and he's such a character.
He is,
Like,
yeah.
Because we met him once, and then we saw him again at another con, and he remembered us, and he was like, "Hey, I got a promo for you." Like he thought up this whole.
Yeah.
He's such a cool dude.
He is. And for those of you who don't know, I guess pardon me for maybe not stating, this is the voiceover guy for all those Midway sports games. So
Yep.
boom shakalaka, he's on fire.
That's all him.
It's all Tim Kitzrow.
Side effects include trash talking, foaming at the mouth, and catching on fire. Boom shakalaka!
I kind of feel like not many people have this exact thing in their game collection, or that much Dr. Mario stuff, because I mean it's an awesome game, but who likes it that much?
Well, I want more.
Wow, I gotta say, those are some amazing quirky things, and I'm really grateful for those who contributed, and I'll leave a link to their channels down below so you can check them out after this video. So, what are my quirky things? Well, I had to narrow it down quite a bit, so I only picked the extra quirky things that were not here all day. First up, the Atari speaker hat. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a hat with an Atari logo and it's got speakers. I actually have two hats. I have one with the black Fuji logo and I have the Blade Runner 2049 version as well. You connect it to your phone via Bluetooth and you can play music through it. I was going to make a video dedicated to this, but I'm not really sure. If there's any interest, let me know in the comments below and I'll really go into detail. It was originally $150 when it first came out, and the sound doesn't have too much bass, and you also can't get it wet on account for the speakers and the internal stuff inside. It's a premium hat though, made of high quality canvas and stitching. Eventually the company who made it folded, and at the end they were on clearance for about $50 at the time. And actually, if you pre-ordered an Atari VCS from Best Buy, you got a free blue Atari speaker hat. They don't really pop up that often on eBay, but when they do tend to fetch a high dollar amount. Next up, these Pepsi bottle caps used to promote Pepsi Twist in Japan in 2005. Can you see why they're so quirky? Well, they're Mario themed. They got these little designs from the original Super Mario Bros. And they're layered in a way to make them look like 3D versions of the game sprites. And I'm actually missing one of them because I was rearranging my room and it looks like it got away, but I'm sure it'll show up somewhere. I do need a method to display them all, so if you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. A couple of honorable mentions of my quirky things are this Intel Pentium 2 bunny plush, my Zelda CDI promotional poster, and my copy of Oregon Trail with this goofy artwork. This was actually hard to find, and I'm really glad to have it. The original Oregon Trail is one of those games that I remember playing as a kid on the Apple II at school. Good times indeed. But what I really like that's quirky in my collection is this copy of Star Fox 2 for the Super Nintendo. And as you're aware, Star Fox 2 never got an official release on the Super Nintendo, but Nintendo released it on the Super Nintendo Classic. And having a physical cart isn't anything new, but this is from Rose Colored Gaming and they went all out with this cartridge. It's a custom blue with an acrylic stand and a custom box and manual, and best of all, it lights up when you play it. It's also one of the two carts that Rose Color made with an updated Star Fox 2 ROM that was dumped from the SNES Classic. So that's going to wrap it up for this video, and once again I want to thank all of the creators who took the time out of their day to submit their quirky things. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with those who might find it interesting. If you're new here, consider subscribing for future content. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Nicktendo. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Super Nicktendo, and I'll see you next time.